Annals of Brazil, Book 2, Life After Hell, the epilogue. After I had to decide between two job offers and two cities, Hamburg or Leipzig, I decided to go instead to Hamburg, hoping for a reunion with my son, but also with my daughter. However, I was lured to Hamburg by the employer under totally false pretenses and promises. Never got the chance of a full-time job, and certainly not in the position promised. After the first few weeks I had spent in the apartment of my daughter, which was initially quite stressful for everyone involved, I found a room for sublet in a single house on the outskirts of Hamburg with a very nice landlady. The illusion, however, to come back closer to my son was destroyed soon. I had to realize bitterly that we had become strangers and had little to say to each other. My son, just like my daughter, avoided talking about the issue of custody. There was absolutely no one with whom I could have talked about it. My books were still the only way to handle this terrible time. However, the books were not published because the deal with the publisher burst shortly before the scheduled publishing of the first book. Soon after my return, I quickly realized in the house of the publisher that I had been deceived. Since the flight was paid by him, I felt a little in debt and said nothing. The publishing house consisted of a one-man operation. The proofreading had been done by the daughter, who possessed no knowledge of the matter or of German grammar. Again and again the release date was postponed, and ultimately the entire contents of the book got queried. No book printer was available, and the company owner was apparently not willing to pay for the printing costs beforehand, although this was part of the contract. Finally, I got fed up. It came to the inevitable controversy. Of course, this was unpleasant for me, because I had until then made a lot of promotion for my first book. Again, I was stuck in a dead end, applied again and again for full-time positions, but I had to find out that I was already for the German labor market at the age of 50, too old. It was useless. Everything I had anticipated had become true, and it was much worse. I could hardly cope with the money I earned, would not even been able to afford an apartment of my own. Now and then I was working on translation requests, so at least I could earn some money on the side. That's how I managed to buy a birthday gift for Ada, a new cellular phone with all trimmings, which I ordered in Brazil, prompting the delivery. I myself felt terribly lonely and depressed, had no one here, missing my people in Brazil so much, suffering terribly from homesickness. These all too serious German faces on the buses and the silence here, instead of the music at any corner of Brazil, didn't make it easier. Quickly I had 20 kilos overweight by eating out of frustration. To make contact with former friends I just couldn't do, and to find new friends in Hamburg, almost impossible. Above all, I had no money to go somewhere. This should now be my life till the end. In particular, how should I do just anything for my boys? My own son needed me no longer, at most, to borrow some money from me here and there. My mother I had not seen any more, neither my sister. After numerous calls, I had given up and taken the decision to cancel the contact entirely. My mother, with a progressive disease, Alzheimer, would not remember me, and my sister did not wish to communicate with me. She prefers to talk with my daughter. With my daughter I was able to build a fairly amicable relationship. A mother forgives everything. But neither she nor my son sensed how much I suffered here, and if I tried to talk about it, nobody wanted to listen. I didn't do it anymore, played the clown to the outside again, as I had always done. My employment contract in Hamburg was finished long ago, without chance of an extension, and thus I sat most of the time in my furnished room. Nevertheless, I used this time and concentrated completely again upon the search for Tony. I had never stopped it, simply lacked the opportunity. Nevertheless, Now it was there, and by the platform Facebook, quite new possibilities were open for me. I didn't let myself into illusions, only wanted the certainty that he either was alive and well, or he had become one of these pointless war casualties that had lost their lives. Finally, I wanted to finish, so or so, this chapter. Otherwise, I would never be happy. Then suddenly came a job offer from Ireland. I applied. I was really taken after 2 phone interviews and a skill test. Although it was not easy to fight for my right to receive financial support for a new relocation with the German authorities, but I managed this obstacle. I had never before been to Ireland. However, it is supposed to be a nice country, with certainty better than in Germany, where the air to breathe is taken from me, where all illnesses and discomfort returned from former times within 1 year, where I felt more lonesome than ever before. I am very much looking forward to Ireland, where I will do my best to execute a good job, to earn good money for my boys in Brazil, and still enjoy the life a little. Maybe it will become adventurous again, and worth it to write the 3rd book about my new life in Ireland. Who knows?